Folks, let's talk about this is how I believe the government has been bailing homeowners out since the pandemic. So maybe you saw me post about this on socials, but I want to give a further explanation here, go a little bit more in detail than I can on a 60-second video. But this is something I've been stopping foreclosures for the last 10 years. And especially in the creative world, if I'm looking at the title of a property, if I'm looking to buy it subject to, a lot of times when I look at it, this is something I'm looking for, as well as other loan modifications, which I just did a video on loan modifications. So you want to go check those out. Um, but a partial claim second, this is a big deal. I am going to break it down. You may or may not know about this, but this is absolutely something that is killing deals right now, or it is something you should be aware of. So first of all, what is a partial claim second? I am glad you asked. So a partial claim second is a second mortgage, and it is interest free, no payments made until the first loan gets paid off, refinanced, or you or the property is sold. Okay. And what it's doing is it is issued, and it's specifically for FHA mortgages. Okay. So you're not going to see this with like a rural development, conventional VA loan. This is FHA specific, so it's also important to keep in mind that of all the mortgage properties out there, FHA makes up 20% or less. And so, but that's 1 in 5 mortgages, right? So we're still seeing a portion of this out there. And basically, when people got behind on their mortgage, okay, they would then, the lender would reach out to them and say, here are some of your options. And what FHA did was saying, hey, look, we have an option. You owe $11,000 of missed payments. Instead of foreclosing on you, we can look at doing, basically it's a loan modification, but instead of a loan modification where we add it to your current loan or do a payment plan or something like that, then they would often do this partial claim second. And it is this is important because it would be done through HUD. So FHA, it's a FHA insured mortgage, but it's done through HUD. So that's one thing that's important. So I wish I knew how to do this. I wish I knew how to block out this sensitive information, but I actually just pulled up public record for a property that I bought that had a partial claim second on it. And so, first of all, it is seen as a mortgage and not a bonification in public record. And it literally says Louisiana Mortgage at the top of this document. The second thing here is that it is issued through HUD. Okay. And I'm actually looking, and where it says the parties, it literally says United States of America, rural housing service. So let me see where, literally, first mortgagee, United States of America. I can't, I've got to find a way to show you guys this. This is literally on the mortgage, and it literally says the first mortgagee, United States of America. Um, I don't think I ever noticed that before. All right, so literally it says this security instrument is given to United States of America acting through the Rural Housing Service and its successors and assigns. It names the address, and it says borrower owes lender the principal sum of $11,753.44. This debt is evidenced by borrower's note dated the same date as the security instrument. So they're referencing the first mortgage, which provides for the full debt, if not paid earlier, due and payable on July 1st of 2044. This partial claim second was done on 7/22 of 2022. Okay. So less than 3 years ago. And it's literally due 22 years later because that's what was remaining on the loan. All right. Let's see. This security instrument secures the lender their payment of the debt. Let's see. All right, let's get to the part where it talks about the terms of it. All right, so you see here that it's a small amount, 11,700. All right, I want to find that part. Usually these, all right, but ultimately here, okay. And so it's basically going through here where there are no monthly payments and it's 0% interest. They don't ever say in the mortgage that there's 0% interest. It is basically tying it to that first, separating this amount due separately. And it is, so it's not accruing interest for all those years or anything like that. It is just a one-time payment due sometime between now and 2044. So if this property were to be refinanced, sold, it would have to be dealt with. Guys, this is super important to understand. When I say that this is being funded by the taxpayers, I'm a little thrown off, you guys. Maybe you're catching up on this. I'm thrown off because I actually hadn't, it's been a minute since I've looked at one of these like critically as if to talk about it with y'all. And to literally see the first mortgagee as United States of America on this loan, um, that's wild. Um, so when I say that the taxpayer is footing this bailout of homeowners, I mean it because it's literally being done by HUD, the Housing Urban Development. Um, we're literally funding these 0% interest loans, no payments due. I don't know about you guys, but um, that's it's something no one knows about, right? And so obviously with everything going on in this administration, I think that this is a very interesting thing. So many of these loans, I've seen them for $40,000. I've seen people get a second, a third, and a fourth of these partial claims. So second, third, and fourth mortgages. And usually it's when they have enough equity that, that they get approved for that. This is just wild. It's important to understand some things. Number one, they're not getting monthly statements because there's no payments due. And so there's no, like, that's too much of an administrative task for no payments due, right? And so a lot of times people go and look at their first and say, oh, I owe 154. I don't, you know, that's how much I would have to pay off my property, which, by the way, your mortgage statement should never be considered a payoff. That's something that they make very clear even on the statement. But they're like, oh, I owe 154. I should be. No. Well, you have this additional 11,000. So to my real estate agent friends, my investor friends, sometimes so right now this is how we're seeing deals being killed because they're looking at their mortgage statement thinking, oh, because they don't understand what they signed. They don't understand all the nature of it. It got them out of hot water. It stopped their foreclosure, right? And so they're looking at their mortgage statement and say, oh, I owe 154. And let's just say you go list a property for 160, right? Well, hopefully they have equity, but in this market, equity is fluctuating. And so we're seeing these partial claim seconds that people have forgotten about, right? Because time and circumstance can lead to amnesia. Oh, I forgot that I did that. Oh, yeah. Or they don't understand what they signed. And so because it's not on their mortgage statement, they don't know that it is on their actual it's a lien against their property, and so it would have to be paid off. And so if you are dealing with someone, this is super important. You've got to do a title check. A real estate agent, friends, you've got to do a title check when you're doing a seller net, because again, them looking at their mortgage statement is not enough to understand, what all is going on here. And this, I mean, 11,000 can completely cover someone's whatever equity they think they have, or it could knock out their ability to be able to pay your commission. So guys, these partial claim seconds, super, super important to understand that these exist. I have taken properties subject to one of these, but they are, number one, they're not, I think it's important to understand that these are not available for every borrower. These are just for FHA loans. Again, one in every five, or give or take. borrowers, are dealing FHA. So understand, like if someone has a VA, rural development, if they've got conventional, they may not be able to qualify for this. And I don't know when the honeypot rolls out. I'll be honest. I was searching HUD's website. Under this new administration, their website has undergone a lot of changes. I can see where there was previous articles on it, but when I go to click on it, it's no longer linked to that article because their website is undergoing some changes right now. So I would have to dig a lot deeper to see if I can find some, people pulling sections from those previous articles, stuff like that. So I think that that is important to keep in mind. This right here, you guys, is this is how I think we avoided a ton of foreclosures, and it's really a quiet bailout. And again, still funded by the taxpayer. So if you're asking how are we funding this, your taxes fund the activity of HUD, and so HUD is doing these partial claim seconds, and so let's just be very clear that that's where that money is coming from. And, at the end of the day, I think in my head, I'm like, I'd much rather bail out my fellow American than bail out a corporation. But no one's talking about this, so it's important to talk about it. But all right, guys, partial claim seconds, these are important to understand. And I cannot fully tell you what is required. And so I do know there's a limitation that the principal, let's just say your loan is 100,000 and you're behind on your payments. I do know that they limit it, that it cannot be over like 20, it's either 25 or 30%. I've seen both. I've seen both referenced, and so I don't know which one's true, but for example, if your first loan is 100, if unless you say you're behind enough payments that it's 25 or 30,000, at that point they're going to limit you and they could decline and say no, we're not giving you that much of an interest-free loan situation. So keep that in mind here, guys. There are some limits to it. Again, I do not fully understand what is required for these. That is not clear. I am still figuring those things out. I have never personally, requested one myself or anything like that. But this is just something that I understand. I see a ton of this, especially since COVID. So keep in mind, they even had something called COVID-19 literally recovery standalone partial claim that I'm looking at this here. And again, that was referenced on the HUD website. I can see here it's COVID-19 loss mitigation options for FHA homeowners. And I can see where it's the start of a article on HUD's website, but I cannot fully read it. But guys, this is something you need to be informed about. Did you know about this? Let me know in the comments below. Big deal here. Man, I wish I could get some 0% interest, no payments due loans. The American people with FHA loans were really great negotiators against America with these loans. So good job. Good job, you guys. All right, guys. Another day, another video. Hope you guys enjoyed and learned something new here.